Hi, I'm Khailee Ng, Managing Partner of 500 Global. We're a venture capital firm based in Palo Alto, but we invest all around the world, including Malaysia. So I think looking back on the entrepreneurial career, and also now having spent 10 years as a venture capitalist, investing and building up and working with and learning from a lot of the other entrepreneurs that have gone on to build Kasam, gone on to build Grab, gone on to build Carousel, Bukalapak, and so forth, billion-dollar companies. I think that it's a very interesting way to kind of compare and reflect my own experience and the kind of experiences that they're going through, and the different kind of nuances and differences, right? So I think that as far as if you ask me about maybe 1 to 3 types of challenges, right, to be aware of, I think the unifying one is what I call energy management. So what it is that a founder has only so much energy that the founder can use. And a lot of the energy, if they are excited, they're kind of pumped about it, they can be very infectious in how they help other people on the team believe in things. They can help investors believe in things, right? And I would say that if they get to a point where they're not overcoming their own psychological kind of mental wellness, if you will, they're not recovering fast enough, they're not rejuvenating themselves or refilling their tank fast enough, then that energy gets depleted over time. So I work with founders now 8 years in, and they're tired, very tired, right? So how do you actually get that new spark back again, right? And then I also have worked with other founders who are excited too much, and then when disappointment happens, they can't take it, right? Because they are so pumped and they're used to being in a very elevated state of excitement and anticipation, right? So when it doesn't come true, then we kind of take the shits a bit hard, right? I think the metaphor I would give you is quite similar to how the advice for charging your lithium-ion battery, right? They'll tell you that your iPhone or whatever is don't let it go to 0%, right? Okay, wait till 20, 30%, okay, quickly charge, right? But they also don't want you to go to 100%. They don't overcharge overnight, right? If not, the lithium-ion battery will get worn down, right? They say, yo, just charge it to 80%. Okay, then you take it out, you're set. Keep between the 40 to 80% range, right? So now having the hindsight of my own experience over many years and the venture capital experience over 10 years, right? I think it's good to contemplate. There are some times that you need to go 110%. Sometimes you are negative 100%, you still wake up and go to work and smile. But for the most part, if you keep yourself kind of managed, your energy levels managed through time, then you get to really build companies that outlast. Right, around there, one last thing, right? A lot of folks think about unicorn success and, how come my company, I've worked 5 years, how come it's not $1 billion yet or whatever? But if you look at the age of unicorns, right? You look at the age of Southeast Asian unicorns, right? Grab celebrated its 10th anniversary a few years ago, right? It's not a young company, right? You look at a lot of some of the biggest companies, we got MailChimp, right? People use send newsletters and everything. They bootstrapped to a sale of $12 billion. No venture capital money. Everyone's wow, what an amazing company. 20 years old company. So the question is how do you want to manage your energy? You can think of it across the long game. You're playing a long game. Then you think of how you wake up very differently. First, on entrepreneur experience, there was this one time where, without getting into too much details, right? The main revenue source of my startup was under threat. In fact, it went to 0 for 3 months in a row. And I didn't know when I had to start laying off staff. Or I didn't know how to kind of manage to get through all of that, right? So I wasn't sure. We managed to come out of it where the revenue stream was defended. However, it's I never know when it's going to be taken away again, right? In some sense, right? So I said, okay, I want to sell this company. Then I was very stressed out about it going with the revenue source being threatened. And I had no idea how to sell the company. So I went to my angel investor, Steve Seah, right? So I said, Steve, man, I'm going through all of this stuff, I said, I don't know whether I can do this anymore. Why not I give the shares back to all the investors and call it a day, right? And then he's like, you give me your arm, you give me your leg, what do you want me to do with it, right? This is not for me, right? This is for you, right? This startup journey, there are lessons, there are things for you to take away from this, right? So right now, you're saying that you're stressed out about this, you're worried about that. You know how much fun you're having? I'm having no fun at all. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, you're trying to find a future for your company and you're trying to sell your company, you're talking to different people. This is fun, man. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's very stressful. It's like, no, this is fun. He punched me in my shoulder. It's fun, man. Yo, what's some fun? And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. He's like, would you rather be doing this? Or would you rather be going back, turn on TV and watch some dramas or whatever, go movie every now and then, go someplace to eat or whatnot, right? Is that would you rather kind of watch action movies and kind of see all the exciting things fictitious people are doing? Or rather you be the action hero, you are the one who actually kind of carve yourself out, right? You are the one who is actually living that movie, right? Which one would you rather have? He said how many people they actually go through life wishing they can actually feel excited, right? Feeling the real victory, the real kind of challenge, right? It says you are living this right now. This is fun. What could be more fun than this? It was very organic. I wasn't really thinking about it very consciously, really. It just seemed very natural. And you see this today as well. A lot of entrepreneurs, even before they sell their company, they're already, if they've got some savings, they're also angel investing and helping other people out, right? So for me, it's like the shift from entrepreneur to investor was quite natural for me, because after we sold those two companies, like I felt that like if I can get other people to experience the same journey and create more things, I think that's one way to be relevant and meaningful and to do something that's good for people, right? Because if I'm going to continue building companies, it'll take 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years for one company. But if I can be an angel investor and then later a seed investor, and today with 500 Global, we do like growth stage investments. We cut $5 to $10 million US checks. We just cut another $20 million check like just 2 weeks ago. So if we can help activate hundreds of companies, then it's we can do a lot more than me alone. So for me, like, I thought that was a fun idea, right? And so I'm very proud. 500 Global is a great platform. We have 3,000 investments in 80 countries now. We have 49 of those companies continue to be billion-dollar companies despite all the market turbulence. And we want to back another 10,000 more companies in all these countries and all these people and all these ideas, right? So I think that the idea, again, right, how do you shift from entrepreneur to investor? Once you've had enough fun, once you feel like you've kind of like learned a thing or two and you want to pass it on, like I think naturally a lot of entrepreneurs tend to want to become investors as well. I'll say that, like, to the earlier question, if you're going to ask me what any tips for pitching like an investor like myself, I think it's the way to do a very easy bottoms-up model on at least $100 million US in revenue. So the biggest mistake a lot of founders make when pitching, they'll say that, oh, I'm doing XYZ. This is like a $3 trillion industry. Oh, I'm solving ad tech. Ad tech is like 9 trillion a year or whatever. So they'll use this top-down stats. But the top-down stats, like, they lose its meaning. You know, it's like, what does that actually mean? You know what I mean? But bottoms-up is different. You're saying that, hey, I sell one digital insurance policy, it's 10K. There's actually 200 million parents over here. I plan to get like 2% of them, in the next 10 years. And that already makes me $100 million US in revenue, right? So if it takes 10 years for me to get $100 million a year in revenue, like, I'm ready to do that. But I want to do that in 5 years. You know what I mean? So bottoms up, Sunny, it's easy, it makes sense, you can see it, right? Bottoms up versus top down. Okay, so right now, most startups, not just Malaysian startups, but a lot of Southeast Asian startups, they're getting trapped in a lot of like assumption of like what it means to be a startup. So if you talk about building a company, built a startup 10 years ago, there's no norms, there's no dogma, there's no reference point. But now there are a lot of reference points. But all these reference points, they need to be challenged. The main one is thinking that you need to build a regional company. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, just jago kampung, build a Malaysian company. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm also not saying that, oh, like, don't build a regional company. I'm saying that why does the destiny of your company and its journey towards hundreds of millions of dollars of real revenues, why must that be automatically assumed to be contained within a regional story? A Malaysian company doesn't have to expand to Singapore and Indonesia as the next market automatically. A lot of it depends on your business model, but automatically you don't have to believe that that's going to be the case. Why not expand to Bangladesh? Why not Sri Lanka? Depending on what your startup is, it has its own unique story, it has its own unique path. And based on its business model, there are a lot of different markets that actually are easier to break into. You become number one and you're very celebrated over there. In fact, you probably qualify for a lot of investment over there. You can launch in Saudi, for example. Now, if we again go back to some of the most successful, let's say in the context of Malaysia, right, since MYStartups, right? Malaysian companies, Petronas, early days. If it's just like, oh, let's just focus on Southeast Asia only, how does it become a big company? They were in like Sudan, they were in Azerbaijan, like you ask about our parents' generation or whatnot, they'll tell you, they say, oh, we go here. All the older, larger companies, I met some chaps, older executives, they're sent all the way to Africa, 30 years ago to sell payphones, What happened to that adventurousness? Malaysia used to have that in all of its GLCs back then, in the early generation, the pioneer generation, right? So right now we startups, we are the pioneer generation, and then we're like, oh, let's just go to Singapore. I mean, the world is bigger than that, right? Do you know what I mean? You look at your own company, you look at your own product, you look at which customers need your product, and you follow that. Don't need to follow what other people are saying, right? You follow your customers.